In this video, let's take a look at shapes and using them in QGIS. QGIS is a free GIS program. A number of our users use QGIS. I just want to show you how it works with Traverse PC. So I've got a survey here that I selected because I imported 11 polyline M shapefiles into this survey from a shapefile. I don't care where they came from. The nice thing is that polyline shapes correlate very well with traverses. So you can see in the Traverse Manager here, I have 11 polyline M shapes that I brought in. And of course, in the Points Manager, I have all the points associated with those as well. And we imported those M values into the description of those points. So let's go ahead and export this as a polyline shapefile. I'm going to then export it after that as a points file. I want to show you how we can export both of those and import those into QGIS. Now I'm exporting two files because a shapefile can only contain one kind of shape. So I want the polylines to show up in QGIS. I'm going to show you that I also want the points themselves to show up in QGIS. So let's write the polylines. I'm going to choose File, Export. Let's tell Traverse PC I want to write a shapefile from the type list. And let's tell it what to write. I want to write the 11 tagged items in the Traverse Manager. So here's what is really important. I'm going to choose the details or the settings for the export. I'm going to tell Traverse PC I want to export as polylines and include the elevations. I'm going to export geographic coordinate system as opposed to projected or local. And I'm going to turn on details just to see what I get. Now, to keep the file straight, I'm going to browse first. And I created a subfolder called TPC Export just to keep the files clear for you. And I'm going to add polylines to the file name as opposed to points, because remember I said I'm going to export both file types. So the polylines are going to be in shape_m_polylines. Let's choose that. Traverse PC asks if we want to override it. We'll say yes. Then let's export those shapes. Traverse PC writes each traverse as a polyline. It's giving us the traverse name, which is Esri shape-polyline M and then a number. If I go into the details, I can see what it actually did. So it wrote a polyline Z shape for each traverse because I told it to use elevations and to write polylines. Then for each traverse, it created a shape, polyline Z shape. It used the traverse name as the shape name and then wrote the points. Simple enough. Let's go into QGIS then. And I'm running version 3.44.3. And in QGIS, I say layer, add vector layer. I choose the file I want to import, and here are my polyline files. Now I want to show you that in addition to the 4 shape files, there's also a zip file. New in TPC Desktop 2026, when Traverse PC writes a shape, it automatically zips those files for you. That's because some programs will import only a zip file. QGIS, I can select either the shape file or the zip file. Either one is fine. Let's open that zip file and then add. Let's close out this dialog, and we can see that QGIS has added those polyline Z shapes to the project. I'm going to right-click that layer and choose Open Attribute Table and just expand this name a little bit. And we can see that Traverse PC used the traverse name as the shape name for each shape. And then traverses provided additional information. Each traverse shape shows me the length, the square area, the acres or hectares, the linear error, and then if it's a parcel or a lot, I'll get location and parcel information as well in that DBF file. So that's the polyline shapes imported into QGIS. Now let's go back to Traverse PC, and this time let's export the points. So same steps, export. We're going to export those same 11 tag traverses, but this time in settings, we're going to tell Traverse PC to do points instead of polylines. Leave everything else the same. And because of how I'm doing my files, let's browse and choose the points file. Let's go into that export folder, and I'm going to choose either the shape file or the zip file for points. I wrote these earlier, so it doesn't matter which one I select in Traverse PC either. And Traverse PC says you want to override it. Let's export. And this time Traverse PC is writing the points, not the polylines. So we've written all the points. If we come back in to the details, we'll see that Traverse BC wrote the points as point Z because I did the elevations with those. Let's go into QGIS now. And just like we did before, we'll go to Layer, Add Vector Layer. This time let's choose the points zip file instead of the polyline zip file and open that. Once we've selected the file, it's Add, and QGIS adds those points to the same project. So now I've imported the polylines and the points both from separate shapefiles. I'm going to do like I did before and right-click Polyline Points and go to Open Attribute Table. And now I can see that each point also has attributes. These list the description, any of Traverse BC's attributes, the source, the state if they're known, and then I get the coordinates and the geodetic position for each point along with the elevation and ellipsoid height if they had them available. Okay, I just wanted you to see real quickly then how I can import the shapes that Traverse BC exports into QGIS.